What does the 4th anniversary of the Marikana tragedy mean to those who lost their loved ones? Was the Farlam Commission a waste of time and money? What can be made of Amnesty International smoke and mirrors report on Lonmin? And why has Lonmin failed to comply with its 2006 social and labor plan? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Today marks 4 years since 34 Lonmin mine workers were fatally shot by members of the South African Police Service at Marikana in the northwest. They were on strike demanding a 12,500 Rand basic salary. On 26 August 2012, President Jacob Zuma appointed a commission of inquiry to investigate matters of public and national concern arising out of the tragic event. The final report of the commission that was headed by retired Judge Ian Farlam was released last year, and several stakeholders are saying most of the commission's recommendations are yet to be implemented. Meanwhile, Amnesty International has also released a scathing report in which they blame Lonmin for failing to address the appalling housing conditions at Marikana. We are live. You can call us and you've used the numbers to dial 089-110-4210 and our Twitter handle at question time. For my guest today, Diprose Muchena is the regional director at Amnesty International Southern Africa region. But before we go ahead with our show, please let's take a look at this instead.
Comrades, the Farlam Commissioner has come and gone, and yet numerous questions remain unanswered. The Commission took 293 days to review events that took place over 10 days. And yet, despite this amount of time, there are still no answers as to why 500 heavily armed police with artillery and helicopters shot and killed those workers here at Kopi. The blame is placed on hobbies brought on by a black magic rather than the fact that workers were being paid peanuts, less than $500, which is $4,500 per month.
A reminder that you can indeed call us and air your views on the numbers on the screen there, 089-110-4210, 089-110-4210. Firstly, on the line, we're joined by AMCU President Dr. Joseph Mathunjwa. Dr. Mathunjwa, welcome to Question Time. I listened and watched your delivery or your speech today at the commemoration service. Several points that you made there. Perhaps just give us a brief of what your presentation entailed.
Thank you once more. The brief of the commemoration was to remind ourselves that if the democracy is kind of overpowered by the capital, is very dangerous for the democracy itself. And secondly, was to remind ourselves that the mine workers were killed just because they wanted a living wage, nothing else, nothing less, of which the state colluded with the capital, with yellow unions, and then the workers were massacred. So therefore the struggle continues as we speak.
And I mean, in your delivery, as I listened, you were very critical of the National Union of Mine Workers.
It's not about critical, it's about pointing on what they were doing. That's the fact that when we arrived or when workers joined us, they were earning 4,600. So if they were continuing with their CPIX increment, which is percentage, today they will be earning about 5,600, of which AMCO was not negotiating on 7. Today you go to Lonmin, there is no surface worker who's earning less than 7,900, and there's no worker who goes underground as a general labor who's earning less than 8,700. So I was reflecting to that, which is fact.
Are you happy 4 years down the line with the conditions of the mine workers at Marikana?
We are not happy, really. Not only that, the conditions of Marikana workers, all over in the mining sector in general, we are not happy. Look at the communities where these mines are established, where they are taking these precious metals. It's full of informal settlement. There is no development whatsoever. You look at the labor spending areas where the workers are coming from, there is no development either in those areas. So therefore, how can we be happy? As you'll remember that we've been making a clear call to the state to say, government, please apologize to the nation and to the families and the injured. Nothing happened. Government, compensate. Why should you allow this thing go for litigation knowingly that your police has killed the workers? Nothing has happened. So there are many things that we requested to declare this day of today a public holiday. Nothing. Just to count the list, to apologize. The government hasn't done that.
And what is going to happen as today we start, a countdown towards the 5th anniversary of Marikana? What is your plan of action before the 5th anniversary?
You remember that AMCO has established the Marikana Massacre Trust Fund, of which that fund will be catering, will be looking after all the workers who were killed, including those that were killed before the massacre, of which, at the end of the day, the police are also being recognized by the fund, and also NUM members who happen to lose their lives during that 10 days, they are also catered for. So we have already started turning the sword in Eastern Cape on the 9th of August as the symbolic that we will be starting a project that we committed to build their houses for these 44 people who lost their lives, irrespective of union affiliation, irrespective of the employment. We will honor that commitment.
Joseph Matunjwa, thank you very much for making time to talk to us. That was the president of AMCU talking to us from Rustenburg there. Dipros, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Mpo.
You have released a report on Marikana. Let's just talk about that briefly.
Well, thank you. We've released a report on Marikana in general, but Lonmin in particular. This is a report that focuses its attention on the role that Lonmin has played in the aftermath of the Marikana massacre and the tragedy that befell mine workers in 2012.
Yeah.
And this report specifically looks at some of the issues that were discussed during the Farlam Commission. The Commission of Inquiry, of course, was looking at the question of right to life. But among other things, you will recall that the Farlam Commission called out Lonmin in terms of its own shortcomings, indicating that Lonmin's behavior and approach to its own social and labor plan before 2012 had contributed to an environment of tension, of mistrust, and the kind of circumstances that formed the context in which the inequality that played itself out, experienced itself on workers in Marikana, and therefore Lonmin itself was a big player both before 2012 as well as after 2012. So this report spotlights our attention and the attention of the country on what Lonmin has done, is doing, and needs to do in order to ensure that we never have another Marikana massacre again.
So what do we need to know out of this report?
What we need to know is that the process of handing out mining licenses requires under the law that a company that so receives a mining license must produce a social and labor plan, which is a legally binding document, which spells out the company's strategy to address the questions of broad social, economic empowerment for workers, in particular delivering housing. We also need to know that mining companies are required under the Mining Charter in terms of the Act established in 2002 to have specific plans around delivery of housing, including converting all existing single-sex dormitories like hostels by 2014 into probable family units, as well as building through consultative processes housing units where workers can subsist. These legislative requirements are part of South Africa's keeping with its own constitutional requirements that requires the right to housing protected in Section 26 to be enjoyed by workers, but also a progressive realization of socio-economic rights which are needed in terms of South Africa's obligations under international law, the African Commission, the International Covenant on Social and Economic Rights, as well as the UN Guidelines on Business and Human Rights. Okay. These are very clear legal instruments to which South Africa is a party. There are also clear guidelines for Lonmin to understand and therefore to implement its requirement under the law. And we're arguing in this report, based on analysis of Lonmin's own reports to its shareholders, its sustainability reports between 2005 to 2015, that Lonmin has failed to live up to its own social labor plans.
Okay, hold it there. Itumeleng, you're in Pretoria. Welcome.
Thank you, Mpo.
Yes.
Mpo, I don't think these commissions are useless. Because there are a lot of information that comes out of this information, out of these commissions that we wouldn't know about, like the issue of the SMSs from Cyril Ramaphosa and the Lonmin directors.
Yes.
And then other information. So today you hear many people, they say these commissions are useless. The issue of, what is this, of the fees. Must fall commissions are useless. TRC was useless. Democracy, that is how democracy works.
Yes.
We need to okay, the commissions are not punitive measures. They are not there to punish people.
Yes.
People must not expect that after commissions, then people must be arrested and people must go to jail. That is not how democracy works. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Itumeleng, for the call there. We are talking about Marikana today and would like to hear from you as well. The numbers will be on your screen there. Please do give us a call. Let's hear what you think of today. It's the 4th anniversary of the Marikana massacre. Do you think progress has been made? What needs to be made, and what is your interpretation of the Lonmin's failure to adhere or to meet its targets from the social labor plans? We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion. Please don't go away.
Do you need a funeral policy?
Joy is found in the little things.
Ke ho phedisa, ho fepa le ho hodisa.
Ukuba ibone ukuvela kwethuba lalokho okungenzeka.
In being there when one journey ends and another begins.
En idee van die klein dingetjies wat kosbare herinneringe word. Life is the gift of growing new memories each day.
So that our loved ones can preserve them after we are no longer here.
Life is a gift to us.
Since 1918, AVBOB has comforted and supported South African families in their time of need.
Protecting their loved ones' memories with respect and dignity.
Plus, committed and trusted funeral representatives
with more than 250 branches nationwide.
There for you every hour of every day.
AVBOB provides a complete funeral service solution for everyone, even if you're not an AVBOB policyholder. Make sure your family comes first. Always. AVBOB, we're here for you. If you would like AVBOB to call you about a new policy, SMS family and your name to 41790.
It's Macro's 45th Big Birthday Bash, and our gift to you is big savings. Get the Weber 57cm original kettle braai for $1899. Our gift to you, free briquettes. Get 5 litres of Plascon Micatex for only $149, save $230. And Clodina Border Stripe Mega Bath Sheets just $149 each, save $60. Get these and many other great deals in store and online with Macro's Big Birthday Bash. Macro, big on life.
Welcome back. Here, still watching Question Time. My guest, Diprose Mchena, is the regional director at Amnesty International Southern Africa region. And Tazana, you are in the Eastern Cape. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Mpo?
Yes.
I want to find out. Why is nobody talking about the police that were killed in Marikana. Is there perhaps a mistake? Have they got lesser lives than the lives of the workers? Why is nobody talking about the police? Please let me know.
Okay. Thanks very much. Well, I don't necessarily know if I have an answer to that question, but I know that there have been, calls to say, indeed, when you talk Marikana, you need to be all-inclusive. Now that we know that Lonmin has failed to meet its SLP's target, what is going to happen?
Well, a number of things need to happen. First, I think that Lonmin needs to accept that it has failed, that it promised to the government and to the community and stakeholders that by 2011, 5,500 houses would have been built. By 2012, 3 houses, shore houses, had been built, right? And that did not follow proper consultations with stakeholders. We didn't see in any of the Lonmin reports notification to DMR to say this is what we are doing, we are no longer meeting our targets. And not accepting responsibility means that you build a fragile foundation for the next phase of the SLP, which is started in 2014, which goes into 2018. So Lonmin is in its second SLP, and it's important that we spotlight our attention on exactly what the progress has been, because it's midpoint now. Have they delivered the 5.5? What are the plans? There is a lot of excuses in various reports of Lonmin that says either the financial crisis or employees don't want houses anymore, because they did a survey in 2008 which indicated that workers in their plant do not want to buy houses, they want to rent, because most of them are migrant laborers.
Yes.
I'm sure that a company with 100 years experience of mining and working in the mining sector would have known and understood the character of its labor force. To an extent, they would have known that workers can buy or cannot buy. The second issue is that, in fact, access to housing on the basis that Lonmin spells out was going to be, the plan was that Lonmin argues that they were going to get a partner for development, including financial institutions. We found no evidence in their reports that the banks that they are listing there actually do delivery of housing in that sort of way.
So Lonmin lied?
So Lonmin, I don't know whether they lied, but they didn't tell the truth, because what you see in the report is not what actually is going on.
Papi, you are in the Northwest.
Good evening, Mpho, and my guest over there.
Thank you for the call, Papi.
I just want to check the gentleman over there whether I would be able to answer this, because I heard him talking about the social plan in terms of this mining, where they are established. We were told that previously the Lonmin has contributed a certain amount into an account somewhere in the Northwest, which is called the D account, which has been looted out, which was supposed to uplift the life of the people around the Bapong area. What happens in such a situation where mining companies are trying to uplift the environment where these minings are found?
Okay, so in this case, you said what was the account called?
Don't you the story about the D account, which was actually presented, I think 2 weeks ago, by the public protector, where 700 million was looted in that account. What is left in that account is less than 500,000. What happens to that money? Because it was supposed to uplift the environment in the Northwest.
Okay, thanks very much. Do you have any evidence towards that?
In our report, in our investigations and research, we did not look at the account the gentleman is making reference to, but clearly Lonmin has made a series of financial commitments, even in its 2006 social and labor plans. There were annual commitments of financing the housing delivery scheme. Those are the commitments that we're saying were not met. They've made additional commitments now, including donation of land to the government. I think Lonmin would be able to explain exactly which money they have spent on what aspect of housing delivery. What I can only speak authoritatively about is the reports that we examined, the interviews we did with Lonmin, and the evidence we found out, and that's what we have captured in our report. And we think that Lonmin needs to take the report very seriously.
So, according to the Smoke and Mirrors report, what more is there besides the SLPs?
What is there is that we examine the political economy of housing delivery in South Africa across the mining sector, specifically in Northwest. We provide a series of analysis having looked at the delivery of housing across the province. It happens to be one of the provinces with the highest number of informal settlements. You also have a community adjacent Lonmin's mine, which is also within its mine lease area called Nkaneng, where about 15,000 people are living there, some of whom work at Lonmin. And we also look at the social conditions that exist. These are not sustainable conditions to live in. I think they ought to be something that needs to be done urgently. We also raise a series of issues around the oversight by government through DMR, the Department of Mineral Resources, whether in fact the capacity within the Northwestern Province, which is the area we specifically looked at, is there, because we saw there are 3 employees at DMR in the Northwest region, overseeing around 250 social and labor plans. They can only do 20 to 30 a year. So the capacity for oversight might also be limited. So we're also making recommendations to government in order to ensure that corporates comply with the law.
Okay, Eunice, you're in Pretoria. Welcome.
Hello, Butimpo. How are you and your guest in the studio?
We're well. Thanks for the call.
Well, thanks. Butimpo, now priority Kore. When this thing started, like the union, no label, ANC before Mandela, mining, that was the priority. So we expected to first thing but rescue, but make sure or right. So at the end of it, it's affecting everybody. Everybody must give suggestions. This means for the union government, I'm sorry to say it, adina neatly. Because moba to million, so where is their priority?
Okay, Eunice, thank you very much. Well, Eunice, they're saying, look, these things, the struggles and all the movements started or were active very much in the labor or in the mining sector, and that's the area which was supposed to have been prioritized. So basically she's saying there's no truth in all these unions and governments and politics there. Well, that's Eunice there. But now, let's perhaps as we conclude, find out what are you going to do? Are you taking Lonmin to court to ensure that the commitments that they made legally are, going to be implemented?
We think Lonmin is a reasonable corporate citizen. It will certainly take. This is a fair, accurate, well-founded research by Amnesty International that it has conducted, including talking with Lonmin executives twice in May and in July. We also have given the company an opportunity to look at the report so that they can respond. We have inserted their response as part of the appendix of our report. We think we are sitting on a major issue of inequality related to the delivery of housing, and that gap needs to be reduced. Around 2010, you'll see in our report, we also capture what Lonmin executives are getting and what workers are getting on the ground. And if there is no redress of
what's
this
the difference?
It's a huge difference. I can tell you it's a huge difference, because you are looking at, in 2010, it's in our report, you're looking at probably around £500,000, a year, and you are looking at something in the region of 5,000 a month for the workers before the strike. I don't know what the situation is now, but it's actually beyond salary. It's about dealing with inequality that is obtaining there. It's about fulfilling the legal obligation that SLPs are required to under the mining charter and also within the statute of South Africa.
Very quickly,
and we will be doing a major campaign to make sure that our recommendations are fulfilled. The membership will be working on this.
Very quickly, as you round up, is South Africa that bad? I mean, what about other countries like Zimbabwe?
No, we are not saying South Africa is that bad. We are saying the issue we are raising is a pervasive Southern African land issue. Mining is a big component of Southern Africa's economy. Migrant labor system that we see in South Africa is in part created by the regional political economy of labor migration. Most of the workers who are there are not just coming from Eastern Cape, they're coming from Mozambique, Swaziland, Lesotho. So together, countries of the region will need to deal with the question of how the mining economy is structured to deal with inequality.
Thank you very much for your time, and let's hope that indeed something good will come out of this report. That was Question Time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.